This is Monday morning, August 10th, 2026. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, as you can see, the title of the video, the build up to the Nigeria Second Civil War. And this is not common. This is not something that people are expecting to hear, but that is what I want to discuss with you in this video. But before we go into that, let's look at what happened in Plateau State yesterday. As you see, Plateau is a terror ravaged area where killings are happening every day. A lot of things are going on there. So there is this enduring peace, Operation Enduring Peace. The Nigerian government established Operation Enduring Peace. So they put a sector of operation there that can help people to fight these terrorists, these jihadists who are killing the people, carrying out ethnic cleansing. The Air Force are among them, the Navy are among them, the Nigerian soldiers, that is the army, are among them. So the responsibility of these people is to prevent attack, prevent kidnapping, and help the indigenous people to protect their territory. But guess what? As usual, majority of the Nigerian armed forces are terrorists. I may not say majority, but most of them are terrorists. They work with the terrorists. So it's a known fact. Now, something happened yesterday. The Nigerian police force arrested a Navy officer and an Air Force officer. A Navy officer and an Air Force officer. Now, who are they? One is a Mr. Israel. Mr. Israel is a sergeant of the Nigerian Air Force. Another one is Mr. O.S. Osman Khalid. Mr. O.S. Osman Khalid, a Nigerian Navy man. So he's a Navy officer, a personnel of the Nigerian Navy. What is their crime? Why were they arrested? They were arrested because they were planning to carry out a terrorist attack. Nigerian Air Force officer and Nigerian Navy officer. Stay with me. Now, the Nigerian police also released a statement that these people were planning to kidnap the wives of Bishop Ephraim Gonde and retired Bishop Benjamin Kwashi. These are the two bishops that these people are planning to kidnap their wives as well. Such a terrorist attack and terrorist activities are not supposed to be expected from the personnel of Nigerian Air Force and Nigerian Navy. These are the people they brought to work in Operation Enduring Peace. Unfortunately, Operation Enduring Peace is now Operation Enduring Sorrow? Because they are bringing sorrow, terror attack to the people now. But they were, sent there to carry out, peace, to protect the community. It can only happen in Nigeria. Now, let us focus. You have seen their picture, right? These are the two people who carried out the terrorists, who are planning to carry out the terrorist attacks. So I'm saying this because they have been arrested already. Okay, they have been arrested by the Nigerian police. Let us leave that matter apart. Okay, I don't know how they are going to go. You may hear that they left them. They leave them. Sorry. Now, let us look into the main topic of this video. The build up to the Nigerian Second Civil War.
This war is against Christians. I mean Christians generally.
Well, in Adamawa State, we're getting reports that the terrorist group ISWAP has burned down a Christian village, threatening residents to convert to Islam or die.
The Nigerian Second Civil War is going to be purely a religious war in Nigeria. And it's not going to be funny because a lot of things are going to take place. And so many Christians will join the forces of the jihadists to fight Christians. The build-up of the Nigerian Second Civil War, most of the Nigerian influencers are going to support the jihadists to kill Nigerians. The build-up of the Nigerian Second Civil War, these jihadists will have too much power, federal power, to act. And it's going to look like this is not a religious war because most people who are Christians will also be used to fight this war, just like what happened the Nigerian Biafra war. Ojukwu is not Ojukwu, Gowon is a Christian who looked like I am the one fighting the war. But that was not Gowon. Gowon was used. The decisions that Gowon reached wasn't Gowon's decision. Okay, because right from what happened in Aburi town in Ghana, where they have made agreement on how to move forward with Nigeria to make sure people protect themselves and have peace. When Gowon came back, yes, he went there by himself. He agreed to the terms by himself. But coming back to Ghana, the people who are controlling him told him that no, you can't go with this agreement. And that was what led to the Nigerian civil war, the first civil war. And why they were fighting the war, Gowon could have said, no need to fight this war. Let us allow them to go. But people, voices on the background who are pushing him, including the Great Britain. Don't forget that Great Britain was working with the Sultan of Sokoto, the Caliphate then. So their plan is to keep Nigeria one. That was their plan. And they see people who are fighting not as Igbos. They don't see them as Igbo. They were seeing them like Christian majority. That was what made the war to make sense to a lot of people. So including people who are at the war front, who are Christians. So the war does not look like, oh, these people's anger is part of religion. It doesn't look like that. So that is going to happen in this second build-up. Now, the major build-up of this civil war started from 2012. And I know why I said it started from 2012. It didn't start the day they brought Sharia into Nigeria as a constitution. Okay, it started in 2012. That was where and when some Islamic cleric met Boko Haram commander. So when they met Boko Haram commander Abubakar Shekau, they were in high spirits, knowing fully well that they have mission to conquer Nigeria. So after that meeting was when Boko Haram released their handbook. And in that handbook, which has been documented, Shekau was reading it out and he made a statement. The war is against the Christians. And I mean the Christians generally. That was the exact statement made by Shekau. Now, after that, he gave Christians ultimatum to leave the northern Nigeria. The United Nations had a security meeting because of this. Go and Google it, go and check it on their website. They had a sitting on sectarian violence in Nigeria and condemned the pushback of Christians from northern Nigeria. A lot of you don't know what has transpired in the past. So that was when the build-up of the Nigerian Second Civil War started. Now, ordinarily, it should have been like, these are terrorists, let Nigerian state counter them. You know what? They infiltrated Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's presidency, who is a Christian. And Jonathan raises alarm. Boko Haram have infiltrated my presidency. That was the build-up of Nigeria's Second Civil War. Now, they wanted this civil war to happen 2015, 2016. This was the map of the Nigerian Second Civil War. Okay? But Goodluck Jonathan stopped Nigerian Second Civil War. I'm telling you reality. I'm telling you history. Pay attention. So, there was a statement that is famous that Goodluck Jonathan made. My ambition does not worth the blood of any Nigerian. Before the Civil War, the United States under Obama was warming up in Ghana to stop Goodluck administration because the North were ready for war. And Buhari made a statement. If I didn't win this election, the babu will soak in blood. He was telling you that there will be a war. And because of that, they now imported mercenaries. That is this bandits you are seeing today. They imported mercenaries who are going to help them to fight this war. Then, Obama sent delegates from America to Sultan of Sokoto. The president is in Abuja. They flew above the president. They went to the Sultan of Sokoto. They had a meeting. That was the build-up of the Nigerian Second Civil War. And, you know, like I used to say, they will always use your fellow people to front the narrative. Now, the campaign they were doing, they did not include Osibanjo in Buhari's campaign. Ask Babachan Lawal, who was their secretary, not the secretary of the coalition, but secretary of the campaign council of APC. So, Osibanjo started campaigning in a parallel way because they asked him campaign to Christians. Why Buhari campaigned to Muslims? They divided it then. It was a build-up to a civil war. Then, Osibanjo came to Channels Television with Shehu Okibandoye. He told Shehu one-to-one, we are going to form a parallel government in Nigeria. Nigeria is going to have two governments if Goodluck Ebele returned as president. Then, at that moment, we were receiving messages upon messages. Every corner of the mosque, they were saying one thing: Jonathan is an infidel. This was a build-up to a Nigerian civil war. Jonathan is an infidel. Jonathan is not representing us in organization of Islamic countries. Nigeria is a member of Islamic country. Jonathan was not representing. So these people were ready for war. Jonathan saw the blood. he saw everything. But if I am in the position of Jonathan, I will fight to the end. Yeah. You know why? I could have saved more lives. And Nigeria could have taken decision to know that they are not one by now. Anyway, Goodluck Jonathan did what he did. Then everything went on. Now, the people they imported became problem. So the people they imported became problem, started terrorizing. They started talking about Ruga to distribute these people and make them to position and start conquering before the day they will call for jihad. Then, after this, this led to the increase in agitation. The Oduduwa and the Biafra agitation now have more attention. Nnamdi Kanu's release, detention, Sunday Igboho came, a lot of people were agitating. Then, build up to 2019, it was Muslim, Atiku and Buhari. So that's warmongers. We are not that loud because this is our own. This is a Muslim, this is a Muslim. That is what they want. Okay? Then, in the year 2023, El-Rufai made a statement. A Christian cannot win as a president of Nigeria any longer. I published the video last week, so it's not far. You can go and check it. El-Rufai made that statement. A Christian cannot win as the president of Nigeria again. So, at this point, these people have concluded that the war we are supposed to fight because of we want Nigeria to become an Islamic country. No need to fight it because we now have the political tool to make sure that Muslims will remain as a president of Nigeria forever. So this is our country. Then we can continue to rule. Stay with me. After El-Rufai made a statement, they go on with Muslim ticket. It was strategic. Now, the problem is that Muslims are not majority in Nigeria. But you know what? Muslims knows how to divide you to make that majority up. The Redeemed Christian Church of God was the major tool used by Buhari. Yeah, it was a major tool used by Buhari. So they were using Tinubu's wife. Tinubu is a major stakeholder in that in this situation. So Tinubu's wife, Pastor Yemi Osibanjo as well. These are pastors, so a lot of them belongs to the Redeemed. So they make sure they capture Redeemed Christian Church of God and other Pentecostals to join the Muslims to make up that so-called majority they are talking about. So then after the 2023, we keep on warning them, telling them this is what is coming. This is war. This is Islamization. Then in the build-up of 2027, then this is what is still going on. However, after the 2023 general election, they make sure that every other position you can give to Christians, but when it comes to security position, no Christian should near any security position. That was something very special that people did not pay attention to. When I mean security situation, executive security situation that controls Nigeria. That is why you see the commander-in-chief, number 2, national security advisor, defense minister state, all of them were Muslims before Trump made that famous statement that he will come into Nigeria guns are blazing. After that statement, they decided to look into this. It will look like what they are saying is true. Let us remove the minister of defense and put a Christian. That was how Christopher Musa became a minister of defense in Nigeria. Now, here we are. I'm talking about the build-up of the Nigerian Second Civil War, which is going to be a religious war. You just hear from an Islamic cleric in Kano where they were doing a mass wedding in Kano in the presence of Governor Yusuf of Kano State, where he said that Nigeria is a Muslim country. Muslim ticket will remain forever. If you don't like it, leave Nigeria. So, see, the statement from that cleric is not the problem. Yeah. The problem is that this cleric is like Tinubu's aide. The statement from that cleric is not the problem. But the problem is that this cleric is Tinubu's aide. When I mean Tinubu's aide, the man can pick up phone and call Tinubu even though it's 12 in the midnight for you to know how close this man is to Tinubu. So it's not about an Islamic cleric made a statement, but it is about how this person is connected to Tinubu. That makes it make sense. And thank God he said it, but he said that Tinubu is a hero. That he will only support president who is sponsoring the Islamization of America. You people don't know the kind of elements of that statement that man made. That man just exposed a lot of things to you. And I'm telling you this. This is a build up to a second civil war because there are some people. This is where the civil war is going to happen. There are so many Christians who have aligned. They are ready to accept that Nigeria is a Muslim country, that they are nothing, that they can turn to Muslim. Many Christians have accepted. But there are some tribes, the southeast, part of the south, and minority of the southwest, okay, and majority of the middle belt. These people are ready to fight it all out war than for them to be conquered. They are ready to go to war than for them to be conquered. Now, they will be at a level, save this thing I'm going to tell you, they will be at a level where this thing will get to them. They will see that even though they go all out war, that is jihad, against the rest people in Nigeria, that nobody will talk. Then that is the point they will call for total jihad and they will eliminate the rest people. But before that total jihad, it will be very easier for them to do, especially if they have an alliance with the US to do it. If they have alliance with the US to do it, and they will have the alliance with the US as far as Republican people move out of power. If Democrats comes into office in the US, United States will play a major role to helping these people to carry out jihad in Nigeria, and nothing is going to happen. It has happened in other countries. But indigenous people I know, they will put out all-out fight to making sure that they resist it. And that is going to be the Nigerian second civil war. These things might not be fast, but watch the signs of time. Watch the progression and watch how everything is moving. Till I see you on my next video.